Welcome back to AM Northwest. If you feel stiff and pretzeled from a long day of sitting at work, our next guest has a few moves to loosen up your limbs. We welcome the co-author of Yoga Therapy and Integrative Medicine, Dr. Eden Goldman. Good to see you.
Hi, Helen.
You say one of the biggest problems we have is sitting too much. How big a problem is it?
Well, on average, these days, the studies vary about how much Americans are sitting. It varies from 6 hours a day to up to about 11 hours a day, with 8 to 9 hours being a pretty good average. What that has implication for is serious stuff, being that after about 2 hours of sitting extra watching TV per day, people end up shortening their life expectancy by about 1.4 years. They've shown on studies that just came out of Australia this past year that sitting and watching TV for just like 5-6 hours a day will lower your life expectancy by about 4.8 years, which is a lot. You know, it leads to lifestyle diseases.
What is happening when we're sitting all day?
As I was saying,
or what is not happening?
Yeah, well, you know, we're not moving, and movement is key to our bodies functioning properly. And so when we sit so long, our bodies just sit with stagnation. They sit with inertia, and they don't end up getting things flowing like our bodies need to move in our muscles and our joints. And so it leads to lifestyle diseases like heart disease, certain types of cancers. It leads to just diseases that we can prevent if people are more active.
So let's say we're stuck at work at our desk. What are some of your suggestions for what we can do at work?
Well, the first thing is thinking of yoga not as just a practice on a mat. That it's a lifestyle practice. So when we sit at our desk for work, we want to set up a yogic environment. Just the same way as you would go into a yoga class, you'd set up your space and do some deep breathing and calm down and relax before practicing. Just the same way we set up an environment at work. You want to make sure your desk has the computer directly in front of you, that if your head is turning to the sides to type as you do that all day long, you're creating repetitive stress in your neck.
Oh, that's a very good point.
And then on top of it, we have the tendency to have poor posture. So making a mindfulness practice of sitting up straight and having the computer screen no more than about 24 to 30 inches away from our eyes so we don't strain and create compression in our necks and rounding in our backs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What about music or screensavers or? Yeah,
you know, the environment goes as detailed as you want it to. It can be putting ambient music in the back, putting flowers around your desk.
Because it's more relaxing?
Exactly. You know, one of the main components that we deal with in healthcare these days is how stress relates to injury. That 80% of all injury is stress-related. So what we want to do when we're at a desk is see if we can decrease our unconscious stress signs, like raising our shoulders, tightening our jaw, tightening our face, stopping our flow of breath. All of those go such a far way into making us feel better and feeling more relaxed and comfortable when we're sitting.
Well, I do also like the idea of a screensaver that's relaxing. For me, it'd be like a passel of puppies or something like that. That would make me relax. Others, it might be a beach scene, right?
Right.
Okay, and then you say it's important to take stress off your spine.
Right. So doing things like getting up, being mindful enough to have the awareness to get up every 20 to 30 minutes or at least every hour. That, you know, in India, there's a phrase. They say, when a pickpocket sees a saint, they only see pockets. But when a saint sees a pickpocket, they only see a saint. So it comes down to our perspective and how we're going to really bring awareness into the things that are motivating us.
Well, what would be a good way to remind yourself to get up and move?
Our phones these days have timers that you can put, an hour-long timer. What you'd want to do is just get up, stand up, reach up like you're climbing a ladder. Sorry.
Did you hear our camera person screaming?
You can also
she got up.
You can also do little things like just stretching in the chest, or doing some ways to wake up the back muscles, working the mid and lower trapezius muscles, stretching out your hip flexor muscles, working your glute muscles so they support you better.
So a big stretch every hour or so, at least, or take a walk.
Yeah, getting up out of the chair, walking around, going to the bathroom, things that just keep your body moving. You know, even getting to work and riding a bicycle or walking, getting off the bus a stop or two early so that way you can walk a little bit more. On average, we should be walking at least about 10,000 steps a day. And the iPhone these days even shows you how many steps you're walking. So you can keep track of these things pretty easy these days.
And adding activity really does help.
It does. I mean, movement is key. Movement is what allows our body to find its relationship with the world.
And I'm assuming stretching is a good way, in addition to walking the 10,000 steps, and you mentioned stretching is really important.
And that's what they look to in yoga. In our yoga practices, we think of stretch as ways to relieve our body. But just as important as stretching in yoga is stabilization, making sure that our joints have support, so that way when you stretch more effectively. Okay. So all of it together, combining, creates balance in our system. And that's really what we're trying to find, is that homeostasis.
Okay, really good points.
Yeah.
We're going to tell everyone again, the book is titled Yoga Therapy and Integrative Medicine. Dr. Eden Goldman, thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Great to talk to you.
All right,
and I'll be sure to stretch.